The Ascent. P.S. I Love You. Postgrad Survival Guide. History of Yesterday. Long ago, publications and Medium lived in harmony. Then everything changed when Medium made a lot of confusing changes to publications without explaining very much. Only certain publications, chosen by Medium, flourished, but when writers thought they knew what was happening, they vanished. Okay, enough drama. This is a video about what the is happening to publications on Medium. Before we get into the video, I want to tell you about today's sponsor, Glasp. Glasp is a very cool tool that lets you highlight and annotate things that you find online. You can highlight from the web, which is the way that I like to use it, but you can also highlight from Kindle. As you can see, I kind of have a system where I use yellow for ideas about my business, blue for just writing that I enjoyed, and green for ideas that I can use for an article or my videos. I love the community aspect, especially because you get to browse a ton of articles that are interesting to other people. So like James Clear's Don't Start From Scratch, you can see what people are highlighting, what people are saying about this kind of stuff. And this has been one area that I particularly like. Now let's talk about publications. If you're new to Medium or don't know exactly what a publication is, or you like watching these videos, stay for this next bit. If not, you can skip ahead to the next chapter. This is going to be an intro to publications. Medium is a blogging platform / social media network. Basically, it's like if WordPress and Twitter had a baby, and every time somebody read one of your posts, you got paid. That's what Medium is. Slightly different to WordPress and Twitter, Medium has what are called publications. Publications are run by anyone. You can start a publication. I have one. Publications are collections of stories about a particular topic. So for example, the publication The Writing Cooperative has stories about writing. The publication Better Marketing has stories about marketing. As a beginner writer, especially if you're a beginner and you have 0 followers, you can put your story into a publication with tens or even hundreds of thousands of followers and get views on your story even if nobody follows you right now. So for a bit of backstory, back in what I somewhat nostalgically call the golden age of Medium, 2018, 2019, publications were the thing to get into on Medium, whether you were a beginner or not. They were the difference between 10 views and 10,000 views, literally that powerful. The way it worked was like, say I have 10,000 followers and I write a story about relationships. Only 20% of my followers care about me writing about relationships. The other 80% like me for cats, data science, freelancing, any number of things. I published my story in P.S. I Love You, which is a publication all about relationships. 100% of the followers of P.S. I Love You are interested in relationships. So that can cause the views of my story to balloon out way beyond what just my followers alone would have been interested in. That's the power of publications. This was critical, especially for beginner writers to start growing on Medium. Publications were a shortcut, but not one of the nasty, crappy shortcuts. They were a shortcut that actually worked, that worked for a good reason. You were offering quality content to publications grew, publications lent their audience to you for that article. Everybody was happy. Writers were happy, publications were happy, readers were happy. What happened? Okay, now let's get into a little bit of a backstory. So veterans of Medium will know that Medium loves to pivot. They're not special. All social media platforms love to pivot. Medium, I think, is cursed by a specific brand of honesty and slightly bad communication skills. That means every time they pivot, they explain what they're doing to everyone, and everyone's like, what is happening? Why are you doing this? There's a great comprehensive blog post. I'll list it in the video description if you want to check out all of the pivots to date. I'm going to focus on 3 for this video to explain what is happening to publications on Medium. Cast your mind back to 2019. This year represents Medium's pivot to editorialism. Before 2019, publications existed on Medium, but they were all pretty much run by regular writers on the platform. In 2019, Medium introduced a suite of premier sort of prestige publications that they themselves owned and funded. These were called Forge, 10, Elemental, Heated, and they represented sort of the best in class. If you got published in one of those publications as an indie writer, you were doing amazing. And they paid a flat fee to all writers who got their story published in there. between $150 and $300 per story. But their focus was not on indie writers. Their focus was on getting established journalists, established editors who were big in the media industry to come to Medium and kind of lend it a little bit of prestige, a little bit of shine from their own professionalism. I didn't love this pivot, I'll be honest, because I've always thought that the strength of Medium is in the fact that it brings independent writers to a platform where they can talk to anyone with no gatekeeping whatsoever. So I understood the pivot. Medium wanted to become a little bit more like respected online. Fair enough, don't we all? And I learned how to make it work in my favor. I got published in a ton of these. I developed working relationships with the editors. I thought I was doing everything right, and so did a lot of other writers. Alongside this pivot, maybe because they felt bad, they also started to fund some of the writer-owned publications. So for example, The Ascent, P.S. I Love You, I believe, they never wrote a list and said, hey, these are the publications we're sponsoring. But I know for a fact, because I'm friends with some of the editors at that time started to receive a very small stipend, like $1,000 or $2,000 a month, to run the publication, run these non-Medium owned, but we'll call them Medium partnered publications. And equally, if you got into one of those publications, it was a little easier, but it still meant that your article had a better chance of performing well, which was great. A little confusing, but like, okay, fair enough. We can learn to work with this. In 2020, there was pivot number 2, which is called the relational pivot. I'm not making up that word. That was what Ev Williams, then CEO of Medium, called it. A more relational medium, right? Nothing happened at this point. It was just a blog post that Ev put out, in my opinion, a kind of confusing blog post that panicked a lot of people because nobody knew what was happening. But basically, he was saying, look, we don't want to be gatekeepers. We want to help everyone get their story published on Medium. We don't want you to need a journalism degree. We don't need you to worry about publications. We just want you to be able to get your story out there. And at the time, a lot of us were like, hey, that sounds pretty great. That sounds pretty good. I love that. That's when the influence of publications started to die down a little bit. 6 months later is when the other shoe dropped. Ev Williams, the senior staff at Medium, made the slightly questionable decision to do a massive editorial buyout. I think something along the lines of 75% of the staff that ran those prestige premier publications at Medium were bought out. They no longer had a job. If they stayed, their roles were vastly changed, and to be honest, most of them ended up leaving anyway. I don't know what was going on at Medium HQ at the time, based on a couple salty tweets. I think it was just very chaotic. At the same time, a lot of Medium partnered pubs lost their funding. I want to explain the third pivot. Earlier this year, those premier prestige publications shut down altogether. Not only was it no longer possible to get paid to write there, not only did they stop paying, real professional editors to do work there, they stopped accepting stories altogether. They're still on Medium, they still exist, but it's a corpse. They are corpse publications. There's no life there anymore. And writer-run publications are like the partner publications that stopped getting their funding, started fleeing Medium like rats aboard a sinking ship. So amidst all these pivots, which if we want to call Medium a boat, we can call each of those pivots a big wave, where some people got turfed overboard. Sorry. Including Ev Williams himself, as of fairly recently, huh? So I wanted to know what was going on in the head of publication owners. Why did some of them choose to stay? Why did some of them choose to leave? I actually had the chance to speak with the editor of the premier history publication on Medium that at one point had over 3 million monthly views, representing almost 3% of Medium's monthly traffic.
My name is Taplog. I am the publisher of History of Yesterday. I joined Medium about almost 5 years ago. I really liked the idea that Medium was going for, at least at that time, and I was trying to find myself in a niche that I could best present myself. At first I started writing because it was something to do other than work. It was just trying to get my mind off things, and it was like an enjoyable hobby that was kind of lucrative at the same time. So I saw that there was a niche missing in Medium, which was history, at least some more qualitative history, and that is also fun at the same time. So I thought of starting a publication because of the lack of history publications at the time.
He ran one of the best and brightest publications on Medium, and about a month ago, he left, and he took his publication off Medium with him.
So at that point, I saw that, Medium was kind of more of a barrier rather than actually helping me to push the dream that I kind of created.
He was getting a ton of traffic. His publication was getting a ton of traffic. First, mostly from Medium, because everybody knows Medium readers love to read about history. Then he started getting a lot of traffic from Google, because it turns out that everybody finds history pretty interesting. And so he was getting a ton of traffic, and he was bringing external readers to Medium.
I didn't really have much of an idea of where I wanted it to go. I just wanted to kind of have a place where I can put all the stories that I write about history, and at the same time, if anyone would like to join, I was more than welcome to have people. And over time, it started to really grow out of nowhere, at least on Medium for the time being. But then it actually started to pop off on Google as well.
Picture the scene. You've grown your publication, and you're bringing in tons of views. Everybody's happy, your writers are happy, your readers are happy. And then you start to see Medium funnel pretty unreal amounts of money into these prestige premier publications. Okay, fine, you're not special, whatever. You carry on doing what you do. You start to see how, in contrast, Medium doesn't prioritize you as much as they ever prioritize those in-house editorial publications.
Many pirate websites would copy the stories from our publication, publish them, and then put them under AdSense so they could make revenue of it.
Off your stories, off the stories that your writers were making, yeah.
Yeah, so obviously this started a whole load of trouble for me, because the writers started to panic. They kind of stopped writing for the publication itself because they were worrying about it. The moment I told Medium about this and informed them of everything that was happening, they were like, well, what do you want us to do? I'm like,
something.
I was at least hoping that they would point me into the right direction, at least, but I was so surprised that they were so careless about having their content, which is behind a paid wall, just being taken like that, and they don't care about it, because at the end of the day, this doesn't only affect my revenue or the writer's revenue, it affects their revenue as well.
You don't get the resources to grow. You don't get even acknowledgement.
And one of the things that really annoyed me was about 3 years ago, I remember they did, you know how they have this monthly newsletters inside Medium for the users and contributors. And I remember they mentioned us, but they got the name wrong. Rather than History of Yesterday, they said History of Yesteryear. So I was like, oh,
that's so embarrassing for them. Oh no.
And remember, editors of these publications are not being paid to run publications. A few exceptions did earn some money, but that has long since dried up. And almost all publication owners on Medium did it purely and primarily for passion and love of writing.
I never really asked to be paid, I don't know, a wage or anything, because I started this as a hobby, as pleasure for myself, you know. I didn't really start this for business purposes or anything like that.
Like P.S. I Love You, like The Ascent, he made the decision to leave a place that wasn't supporting him or his writers or his readers. Today, Andre has made the choice to move to a brand new website on WordPress.
I've been contacted by a lot of writers that aren't part of Medium. I've been contacted by a lot of publishers that are within this industry. I've been contacted by a lot of historians. And they all told me, look, you've done something really great here.
To me, this has always been a little surprising. I think that Medium and publications and writers, all three, do best when they are working in conjunction with each other. When Medium doesn't explain why it makes these decisions, or doesn't tell writers ahead of time, or doesn't support publications that are growing the platform alongside Medium itself, it feels a little bit like they're cutting off their nose to spite their face. I want to quickly highlight one prevalent issue that has come up time and time again for publication owners and for writers on Medium, and that issue is plagiarism.
Once again, we had another big attack with the content being plagiarized, and it started, you know, a lot of problems with the writers because they were insecure if they still want to publish their content with Medium itself, not even History of Yesterday. So I was getting worried, and that was kind of the cutting point, because I once again went back to Medium support, because there's no other place that you can try and contact them, and I tried to just arrange a meeting if possible with someone to discuss these kind of problems. And okay, I understand, even though it says in the partnership contribution sort of contract that we have with them that, you know, they are technically legible to protect the content that we're creating on their platform, because at the end of the day, it's behind a paywall. I'm not going to say I'm expecting you to do this. but at least point me in the right direction, where to go, what to do, and how can we stop this?
It's always been a little surprising to me how laissez-faire Medium has been about plagiarism. Many writers I know are frequently plagiarized because they write pretty great stuff, and plagiarizers know that if they copy that content, they'll get money from ads. Many people will say, well, okay, what do you expect Medium to do about it? What could poor little Medium do? So I want to be clear, Medium has more resources than History of Yesterday ever had or probably ever will have. They're a corporation run by a billionaire. I would say, as a bare minimum, there should be a way to run internal plagiarism checks. Several writers have literally had their work copy, pasted, reposted on the platform, not just not been noticed by Medium, but actually Medium has selected those pieces for internal distribution or curation. So there's literally no system of checks there. And I know that there is technology that can help people catch plagiarism internally because my teachers used to do it in university. Secondly, I know tools exist that scan the web for instances of plagiarism. If Medium had even said, hey, as of today, we run everything you publish through a tool like Copyscape, right? It doesn't catch everything, it's not a guarantee, but if somebody plagiarizes your work, you'll be told about it, you'll find out about it, and you can maybe do something about it yourself. This is what we can do to help. That would have gone a long way towards helping publication owners and writers know that they were being protected by, a company that they were trying to help grow as part of the partner program. Medium has never done that to the best of my knowledge, and I don't know why they don't. They've made so many interesting decisions and how they spend their money, and one for plagiarism that I know has affected, that was a key component of History of Yesterday departing the platform. It's an interesting choice that they didn't even consider that, or as far as I know, they haven't chosen to consider that. What are the consequences of this big publication exodus? I want to make it really clear. I am a pro-Medium woman to my bones. Medium has let me do everything you see me do. That's in huge part thanks to Medium. They gave me and everybody else who wants to a platform to write, to find readers, to build a business. That's incredible. But as a lot of longtime viewers will know, I'm also a really big fan of publications. I think publications perform a really important role on Medium, and that is gatekeeping. Anybody can write and publish something on Medium. But if you want to get into a publication, you need to hit a couple key metrics. Your title can't be too clickbaity. You can't have some big spelling mistakes. Your writing has to be of some quality. It has to fit the topic that the publication writes about. And as a reader, I loved that because it meant that I could go to PS I Love You and find really fantastic writing on relationships. I could go to The Ascent and get really, really quality posts about how to live a better life. I was devastated to see them go and all the other ones go because as a reader, first and foremost, that to me represented a huge loss in quality on Medium. In the long term, I believe that this publication exodus is going to have a long-term effect on Medium's readership.
If you think about it, we are the ones who brought more people to Medium externally.
Yeah.
At one point, I was actually talking with a few of my editors, and we were looking at the stats and trying to compare how much, at least an average, of how many Medium views, how many views Medium gets on a monthly basis, internally as well as externally, and trying to compare on how many views we get, and see what kind of a percentage do we provide. And I don't have this on paper, so people can take my word if they want to or not. We were making 3% of everything Medium was making.
Wow.
We reached a point in October last year where History of Yesterday was hitting on similar web 3 million monthly views. And
That's incredible.
90% externally.
Dang. Wow.
And of course, when publications go, when views drop, that has a knock-on effect on writers too. If Medium has 100 million readers and 3 million of them leave, then that's 3% less traffic for the rest of us. We're all sharing the same pie, and when we work together to bake a bigger pie, or what was my other analogy? Build a bigger ship, a more stable ship, we all benefit. I still believe that if you want to succeed as a beginner writer on Medium, publications are still the way to go. There are still enough publications, and they still have enough of a good reputation that if you have, between 0 and 100 followers, or even 0 and 1,000, your best bet is to find a good publication that fits your work, fits your writing, fits your topic, and submit it to them to ensure that your work gets read by the right readers. In case anybody at Medium HQ in San Francisco is watching this video, I want to leave just a few suggestions with the caveat, of course, that I don't know anything of what's going on at Medium. I don't know the numbers, I don't know the traffic. I can only report on what I see and what I experience, okay? So take this all with a pinch of salt. I'm just a humble writer, but I genuinely believe that we're all stronger together. I believe Medium was at its best when it was elevating indie writers and indie-owned publications, not its own publications, not established premier journalists, because we can get that at the New York Times, right? That's not what Medium is for. Medium is better for readers when all this quality writing is in the same place under a single subscription of $5 a month. It was better for writers when we were all working together. Publications acted as quality control, and they could help you really boost your writing and give you something to aim for. Medium depends on writers and readers, and as both a writer and a reader, I miss the era of publications on Medium, and I wish that they would come back and have more resources and more funding to do what they're really good at, which is elevating indie writers and sharing interesting stories in their niches. I don't know what the numbers were. I don't know how much it would have cost to support these publications a little bit more, but I do know that many of the publication owners didn't necessarily want money. They just wanted acknowledgement. They had done something incredible. They had done something brilliant. They had created a community of passionate, dedicated readers on Medium for free for Medium. Medium was benefiting from that for free, right? All they did was provide the platform. So one suggestion would be creating a Slack group with publication owners who get over, say, 1,000 or maybe 5,000 subscribers, or who have over 50,000 monthly reads. Just giving a port of call that wasn't just the yourfriends@medium.com email would have been a huge nod towards respecting what these publication owners had done. Beyond that, of course, money and time is always beneficial. Open some dialogues, establish a bit more trust with the community between readers, publication owners, writers, and Medium itself. What should you do, viewer, if you're watching this and you're like, I'm all up in arms about the publications leaving Medium. What are my take-home actions, Zuli? I'm gonna give you some. My suspicion is that Medium doesn't know what it's doing. I don't think Medium is maliciously sabotaging pubs. I don't think Medium's like, oh, I'm gonna ruin somebody's day. I think it's accidentally neglecting a treasure because Medium is a little lost and maybe a little confused. So it is up to us to take action and build a Medium that we want to see. I mean, just look at the number of pivots scrolling back throughout the years. Medium is trying to forge a path, but I don't think it knows how. Much like any other social media platform, right? Like Medium is not special. If you support History of Yesterday and you want to support their work, go check out their website. It's the same writers, it's the same quality writing. They are a phenomenal publication, and Andre does such a good job being the editor there. I'm really hopeful that this is going to prove to be beneficial for writers on History of Yesterday and for readers of History of Yesterday.
In time, it will go back again, and there's many other opportunities heading for History of Yesterday, but sadly not with Medium.
Second, if you're a reader on Medium, take a second to check in with your own reading preferences. Do you enjoy publications? Do you notice them? When you look at your Medium Daily Digest or your homepage, the stories that you end up clicking on, are they usually in publications or not in publications? Consider if you appreciate the work that they do, and think about what would happen if they left. Would you be upset? Would you miss them? If so, continue supporting them. Continue clicking on the stories and publications. Make a special point of visiting them. And if you love those stories that are in those publications, read them to the bottom, clap for them, leave a comment, maybe even leave a note and say, hey, I loved your work, keep it up. Notice that you're not loving the Medium publications. Please let me know in the comments, because everyone I know loves them, and yet Medium chose not to support them. So I'm like, I must be missing something. So if you're the missing link, tell me. Third, if you're a writer on Medium, I encourage you to continue publishing with publications. It's what I'm doing because that's how I, as a writer, can continue supporting them and making sure that they succeed. They help me succeed. Hopefully I can help them succeed as well. I want to conclude by reiterating that I don't think Medium is the bad guy here. I don't think publications are the bad guy. I don't think anybody is. I think Medium is trying to do something really complicated and really hard, which is to be the best place to read and write on the web. And I think they've gone a long way towards making that a reality. I mean, consider how Facebook treats its creators. Think about how Twitch treats its creators. Think about how Twitter treats its creators. Like, YouTube is the only one that was paying these creators for a long, long time, and Medium was paying us as of, I think, 5 or 6 years ago, right? Medium is a good platform to write on. I believe that, and I believe that I think I will always believe that. But I hope that they learn that publications matter to readers and they start supporting them mindfully and intentionally. as soon as they can. And as writers and as readers, we have to do what we can to support publications if we feel the same way. Thank you everybody for watching this. I had such a good time filming this and speaking to Andre. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more of this kind of stuff, hit subscribe. And whatever you think of publications, positive, negative, whatever you think of Medium, positive or negative, let me know in the comments. I read every single one and I love to hear what you think. So thank you again for watching this video and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone. You want to come in, Astrid? You want to come in, yes or no? Can't tell if she wants to come in or not. You do want to come in. Okay. You gotta stay in here then. I'm keeping the door closed while I'm filming. If you're prepared for that. Just making sure I'm in focus there. Alright, I'll just wait for that siren to finish. Have a sip of tea while I wait. Oh, that's good. Like rats above a sinking... Rats above?